Today's episode of Aquatic Wetline is brought to you by Oasis Aquatics. Find your Oasis today. Find your next fish at oasisaquaticsnj.com. Check out Oasis Aquatics on Facebook and Instagram.
Welcome to Aquatic Wetline with Aqua Alex CARDINALE. Aquatic Wetline is a tropical fish and aquarium livestream that started out as a podcast in 2014 and is hosted by 30-year-old fish keeper Aqua Alex CARDINALE from Green Acres, Florida. Aqua Alex started fish keeping at the age of 12 and has kept monster fish, freshwater, and saltwater fish and has a lot of knowledge and experience in the aquarium hobby. Aquatic Wetline is supported and brought to you by Oasis Aquatics, an online and local fish shop in Hackettstown, New Jersey. Oasis Aquatics has cichlids, catfish, oddballs, and more. Find your Oasis today at www.oasisaquaticsnj.com. What fish topic does Aqua Alex have tonight? Let's find out. Aquatic Wetline with Aqua Alex begins now. Aqua Alex is live from his fish room in Green Acres, Florida. Take it away, Aqua Alex.
Good evening, tropical fish keepers. Welcome to a special episode of Aquatic Wetline. I'm your host, Aqua Alex CARDINALE. Tonight we are doing a live fish keeping Q&A with my friend and our special guest, Jeremy Leighty. Jeremy, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure and an honor.
So I look forward to seeing some questions that you'll get to answer tonight.
Let's do our best. Did you have any questions to start off with?
Sure. I was just going to say, if any of our viewers have any questions, please post them in the comments, and we'll do our best to get your questions answered. But how have you been since we last talked?
Doing well. How about yourself?
I've been pretty good. I got a red devil for my birthday.
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
Thank you. I love red devils. They're an amazing fish.
Yeah, absolutely. They definitely have some character, don't they?
Yeah, they're pretty aggressive. Not too bad, though.
No, there's definitely worse things in the hobby, even in the cichlid realm.
That's true. So what is your favorite fish, you would say?
If I had to pick one, I would say probably the Channa species. I'm a snakehead fan, true and true. But, I like all fish, so it's really hard to pick a favorite one because there's so many different varieties. There's so many different options that people can go in the hobby from, freshwater community of mixed fish on up to more specialist, geographically correct locations and, a community of, say, peaceful shell dwellers, for example. There's plenty of options out there for anyone.
I know. It's a shame that snakeheads are illegal here. They're a beautiful fish.
Yeah, I personally think the government could probably do some research into it and figure out which ones may grow too large and too dangerous. And, like the ones such as the northern snakehead that could definitely live in our climate and become invasive. I understand those. But the smaller dwarf species that live in tropical waters and couldn't necessarily survive anywhere but maybe Hawaii and, the furthest reaches of the South, especially up here where I'm at in Ohio, very, very few snakeheads would ever survive our winter. I mean, there's a couple, but very, very few of them would. And I think that's the same for most of the country.
The pike cichlids are pretty cool. They're kind of similar to the snakeheads a little bit.
Yeah, and superficial appearance, definitely. As a matter of fact, I had a Venezuelan that looked a lot like one of the snakeheads I had when it was young. I forget exactly which species it was. That was years ago, but this thing looked a lot like it. One of the main differences that was easy to differentiate the two is that particular species of snakehead was one of the ones that lacked pelvic fins, where the pike cichlid had the pelvic fins. But as far as the finnage goes and body shape, they're definitely very similar in appearance. And I've actually been considering one of the local shops up here by me. They have several lenticulata pikes in, and I've been considering getting one of those.
I'd say do it. Lenticulata pikes are awesome looking. They look just like snakeheads.
Yeah, and the nice thing about these one is they're still young enough that if I do decide to make the jump and get them, I'll be able to see all the different color changes and, changes in the finnage and body shape as they grow and mature. Because these ones are still real young and they have the stripes and the spots are real prominent in the head, but it's more striped in appearance as it goes to the back. So they haven't quite gone through that color change yet. These are still young ones, about they range in size from about 4 to 6 inches that he's got in.
Very nice. I have an orange Zingu pike that I like. He's really colorful.
Oh yeah, those are really nice. One of my favorites that I used to have was the Lepidota and the Saxatilis. I would assume those are still in Crenocycla, but I'm not exactly sure because it seems like the taxonomy changes almost daily anymore. Hard to keep up with.
I noticed a lot of species have been reclassified, like the Corydoras.
Oh yeah, Cory's definitely. They underwent. I believe there's now like 5 genuses of however many different species there are, and I know that Corydoras are similar to plecos. A lot of them have those CW numbers and haven't even been fully described yet.
I know. I like the larger Corys, like the Brocious.
Yeah, those are nice. I kind of like the what do they call them? They once upon a time were an Aspidorus. I think they might be something else now. The smaller dwarf types, those are pretty neat. I currently have Julies. What else do I have? The Paleatus peppered Corys, and I forget what the other one is. I believe they're Venezuelans. I forget. I just picked those up a couple weeks ago. A friend of mine was he keeps Goodeids. Many people may have heard of the gentleman. His name is Josh Cook. He's a local fish keeper here. Extremely knowledgeable when it comes to Goodeids. His fish room is absolutely amazing when it comes to the variety of species and type locale. And him and his friends, he works with somebody, I believe it's Bowling Green, and they discuss all this stuff regarding the Goodeids and taxonomy and how to save them. And there's people involved in Europe in these studies and breeding them and exchanges. It's really interesting what the lengths they're going to save these things from becoming totally extinct.
I agree. So what is your favorite catfish?
Favorite catfish? That's an interesting question. Probably I would have to say I've never kept one, but my favorite would probably be the goonch. I really like that goonch. As far as the people,
those are pretty cool.
Yeah, as far as the species I keep right now, it's kind of a toss-up. My top 3 that I have would probably be I have Synodontis lucipinis that are really cool. That's the smaller, similar to Petricola. I have Synodontis ocella. I believe it's ocellifer. I have a what do they call that? The Lima shovel nose, the small striped one there. And I also have an Asian upside down catfish that are pretty cool. So it's
Nice. I love the Lima shovel-nose.
yeah. I happened to get this one. A friend of mine was downsizing because he was taking his fish room in a different direction, and he had this thing, and it was getting picked on in its normal pond where he had it. So he moved it to another thing, and the fish in there decided to spawn. So he ended up moving it back to another tank, and the other fish kept knocking the barrier down because he keeps some monsters. So this thing was getting picked on and wasn't eaten. So he offered it to me, and I brought it home, and I keep it with some goldfish that I have, and it seems to be doing pretty well.
That's awesome. I like them because they're like a tiger shovel-nose, but they don't get the extra pounds like a tiger shovel-nose gets.
Yeah, and you know they stay actually for somebody who's got more modest means. They actually provide an opportunity for somebody to keep a shovel nose without it breaking the bank and breaking the tanks as far as expense goes. Because I really like those. What are they called? I believe it's Merodontis tigrinus. You know
Yes,
which one
those are
I'm talking
beautiful.
about?
Yes,
Yeah, those.
the Tigrinus.
Yeah, I remember when I was a youngster, much younger, I had a subscription or to a tropical fish hobbyist, and back then they were doing a whole series about the Teotonio, or I believe that's how you say it, the cataracts there in Brazil, and they would show the ones that the villagers would catch and take to market there. Some of them fish were bigger than the people who were taking them from the boats to the market, 6-footers, 150, 250 pounds, probably monsters, just gigantic. And the way those people had to catch these things was, it's amazing that the ingenuity they used with what limited resources they had, using wood and different offset leverage techniques to build their, I guess that would be considered piers out over the cataracts so they could catch these things in the super fast flowing water. And I believe that whole section ended up getting dammed and, raised a bunch of ire amongst the conservation groups and environmentalists because it was blocking, what do you call that, migration routes of catfish and stuff like that. So I know that caused some issues back in the day.
I know. The Asian upside down catfish are also cool as well. I like those very much too.
Yeah, they're another. They could be a little iffy though, because they got some attitude. For something
That's
that
true. They're
start.
great with inmates for cichlids.
Yeah, they seem to work well with some of the semi-aggressive ones that won't just outright attack them, and can handle like Severums. I think they would be okay with. They seem to do all right with the Oscars. You got to kind of make sure you keep them with equally boisterous fish, so the other fish that inhabit with them won't get out competed for food because they're definitely aggressive feeders. At least the one I have. that thing's crazy.
That's true. They also grow nice streamers on their tails. That's one of my favorite features of them.
Yeah, they get some nice ones. Several different. I've known several species of catfish grow some pretty impressive streamers. My son had a really nice flash pleco that it was growing some streamers pretty well.
Nice. Those are very beautiful plecos.
Yeah, they seem to be fairly rare, at least in this area. They only come by periodically, and it seems like when they do, they get snatched up real quick.
Yeah, it seems that fancy plecos, people love them. They buy them out as soon as the fish store gets them.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. Like at the auctions, some of the highest selling fish I've seen have been different types of plecos and other catfish. For a while there, one of the most expensive fish I had ever seen go at auction were those Whitesmani cories. Maybe it's Whitesmani. I'm probably mispronouncing it, but those had sold. A bag of them went for a couple $100. I was like, wow.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, at the time, they were pretty rare, and then it seemed like that was the first bag I had ever seen of them, and then in successive auctions, they were fairly common, and then they just like disappeared off the face of the earth. It's really strange. I'm guessing maybe people were having good luck breeding them, and then maybe for whatever reason they stopped breeding, because it seemed like they were everywhere, and then now they're back to being rare again.
I used to have a friend that bred Corridorus. Her name was Lynn Mathney.
I think I've heard. I don't particularly, I don't know that individual, but I know I've heard that name in circles. Several of my friends were real big into the Corys, and they happened to mention that name before.
Yeah, she was the Cory lady. She knew a lot about Corridorus.
Nice. Yeah, there's so many different varieties of them. They're out there, and it seems more and more every day.
That's true. So if any of our live viewers have any questions that you want Jeremy to answer, please feel free to post them in the comments, and we'll make sure to answer your questions. So we do have one question from a viewer, and he wants to know, what is your advice for buying new fish at a local fish store?
My advice would be to observe the tanks, make sure that there's no dead fish in there that may have disease. If possible, if you have a good enough relationship with the owners of the shop, see the fish eat. It's always a good idea to have a tank set up and running prior to getting fish. And, if possible, always have a quarantine tank too, so that you could observe them. Even if they look good in the store, they may be harboring something that hasn't shown up, and it's best to use an ounce of prevention instead of introducing that to a display tank and risking all your hard work and effort and your your existing fish, when it's easier to have a existing hospital quarantine tank.
I agree with that. Very good answer.
I hope that answered their question. I'm not exactly sure if that's what they were meaning, but definitely it's always a good idea and it's a good idea to ask questions too, because none of us know everything, and if you're looking to get something, if you're not certain, it's a good idea to talk to the people there. Sometimes they're willing to hold a fish for you for maybe a small deposit or something, and that way you could do a little more research, because even some of the most knowledgeable pet shops can't know everything about every single fish. And especially when there's new discoveries and hybrids and all this different stuff that are hitting the market, it's always a good idea to do your research as well and ask questions of the staff, because many staff members are very knowledgeable hobbyists themselves. So they always have good advice and can help you out if you have any questions. And sometimes you can even help them out in situations, because if you get a good enough relationship with your local pet shop, and they have some questions on things you may know, they'll contact you, and you can contact them, and it's a win-win for everybody involved.
I definitely agree with that. I have a really good relationship with my my local fish stores. Anytime they get large fish in, they call me first.
That's awesome.
I know, I agree. That's how I got my Jaguar.
Nice, nice. That's always good to have options like that, you know.
I agree. So how are the fish stores in your area?
There's some really good ones here in Northeast Ohio. You know, we have everything from you know, your big box shops like PetSmart, Pet Supply Plus, Petco. You know, those are around, which are good for getting some things. You know, their fish selection is basically bread and butter and all the common stuff. But then we also have some specialty shops around the area. Something Fishy in Cleveland is like a African cichlid and Central American cichlid haven. Dave Hale runs a great shop there. We have another shop in, I believe that's considered Broadview Heights, called Aquatics. That's very eclectic in their selection. You know, they have everything from small nano fish on up to, they don't really do too many monsters. About the biggest thing they have are some of the cichlids, but you know, they have an excellent selection of everything in between. They do. They also, the owner's wife, she's one of the most knowledgeable plant keepers probably in the state of Ohio, and you know, possibly up there in the entire country as far as her knowledge goes with aquarium plants. We have another store called RMS. It's basically an aquarium superstore. They have you know, freshwater, saltwater, pond fish. One of the biggest selections of tanks, from small tanks on up to about 200 gallons. You know, they do some pond stuff. They also have some small animals and reptiles. Let's see, who else do we have? Aquatica in Valley Cities. That's a superb shop as well. The gentleman that owns this, Steve Shin, he also manufactures acrylic aquariums. He does pretty much everything from nano fish up to saltwater as well, and coral reefs. There's a couple coral specific shops throughout the state in Northeast Ohio area. One of the best local shops to me is in a town called Elyria, and that one is called Best in Pets. They do pretty much a little bit of everything as well, from, you know, small nano fish up to bigger cichlids and some monster fish. They also do reptiles, small pets like hamsters, hedgehogs, lizards, snakes. They got a wide selection. Even sometimes they get puppies and kitties. You know, there's pretty much a store for everybody, if you know, that for that type thing. Then there's also pretty much every county has its own aquarium society, and the societies kind of work together so that none of the weekends have overlap, so you know, nobody's stepping on each other's toes, and everybody can host an auction periodically and sell off their excess babies and buy new fish and trade. And their OCA is held once a year, so that's a great place to do the same, where meet up with people. You know, there's reptile sales for reptile people, and you know, some of the things, depending on what exactly it is, you may have to do some looking, but you know, once you network with enough people and get out there, join the societies, introduce yourself, meet like-minded people, it becomes so much easier, and everybody works along with each other to make sure we all have what we want.
That's awesome. And you live right by the Ohio Fish Rescue, right?
I wouldn't say it's right by it, but I'm within a half hour, 45 minutes, depending on traffic. They're about 25 miles away, 30 miles away, something like that. I could jump on the turnpike and it cuts the drive time way down.
That's cool. So what's it like at Ohio Fish Rescue?
Oh, Ohio Fish Rescue is awesome. You know, Big Rich, Josh, Dogfish Jerry, and Skyler. You got Reaper. All them people are great people, very knowledgeable. They're extremely generous people, kind-hearted, and you know, to go into the facility and actually see the fish. You know, I don't think videos do that place justice, because you know, when you see it firsthand and you look down at Brutus and you see this 6.5, 7 foot long arapaima that's probably every bit of 125 pounds, and that this thing looks like a surfboard that you could literally ride around the swimming pool pond it's in. It puts a whole new, you know, scope on things when you see the sheer size of that facility.
That's true. They have some really big monsters like the arapaima and arowana and stuff, but I love their freshwater stingrays.
Oh yeah, they have some beautiful stingrays, and it was even during the time when stingray biology and predatory fins, when they were in their moving stage of stingray biology, moving from the West Coast, and predatory fins from Florida up to New York there. Ohio Fish Rescue was one of the facilities that helped them store some of their stingrays, and they had some of the big stingray biology fish in the pool pond, and you could see these things, and you look down at them and they're 5 feet underwater, and you still see this thing that's pushing 3 feet in diameter. It, you know, definitely gives a whole new scope of how large these fish are that you just can't really get watching on a TV screen. It's something you almost need to see to believe. And the patterns on those fish were just, you know, it's amazing.
That's true. The locals fear stingrays more than they do piranhas.
Oh,
I
for
fear
sure.
stingrays more too.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that barb's no joke.
It would hurt. It would suck to get infected too.
Yeah, I've heard of stories. I think even Jeremy Wade touched upon that in River Monsters, about people who, you know, down there in the Amazon may go to the river to get water or wash their clothes, whatever, even just wade in the water because it's so hot, may step on one and they'll get lashed with that barb and have been dragged into the water and drowned by the large ones. So it's definitely something to always take into consideration for even people who may want to go down there on a tour, to always be mindful of your, you know, situation that you're in, so you know you make it out of there safely. And
That's true. There's a lot of predators in South America.
oh yeah, you know, there's small things from insects on up to snakes that are, you know, venomous arboreal snakes that live in the trees, to fertilances on the ground. It's definitely a place you got to be aware of your, you know, situational awareness at all times.
That's cool. So what is your favorite South American fish?
Ah, I would have to say my favorite South American fish would probably be. Are we talking overall favorite South American fish?
Yeah, overall, it could be any.
If I had to pick a favorite overall South American fish, it would probably be. That's a good question. Uh, hmm. I would have to say it would be one of the like Hydrolycus, either Scomberodes or Armatus, the vampire tetras they call them in most places. Armatus.
Very nice. Those are really cool predators. I love them.
Yeah, that was. I kept a Hydrolycus scomberodes. That was probably 30 years ago. And the one thing that amazed me most about that fish is, I couldn't get it to eat anything but like rosy reds and live fish. Of all the fish I've ever kept that were predatory in nature, that's the one fish that never missed. And for something so skinny, they would eat 6, 7 rosy reds in a feeding, and they never lost. It was like they never ate. They never gained a big belly. It was the strangest thing. Even though I would sit and watch them feast on 6 or 7 of them at a pop, they never showed any swelling of the belly area. It was just the strangest thing for such a narrow, skinny fish.
I agree. I like the Armatus pariah better. They're more hardier than the other one you mentioned.
Yeah, I've heard that before. I think those also get much bigger, though.
Yeah, they do get much bigger, like 2 feet.
That's what I thought. Yeah, there's so many cool fish in South America. That was really a good question because one of my favorite fish from down there is the Inca stonefish. I had those for a while. I'd really like to get those again. I've been having a little bit of trouble finding them in my area now, but they're such a cool, smaller fish.
Nice. My favorite South American fish is the red hook silver dollar and the black bar silver dollar. I love those guys.
Those are nice. I like the. Have you seen the green pacus?
Yes, those are beautiful. They're just starting to come into the aquarium hobby.
Yeah. I've seen a couple of them floating around, mainly on YouTube. I was seeing. I want to say the guys at Predatory Fins might have one. I believe Ohio Fish Rescue has 1 or 2 as well in that homemade. I forget exactly what size pond it is, but the one that they got the most of their pacu in and their Mexican turtle.
Nice. There's also some rare red hooks that are coming in now, like the Mylius mickens and the yellowfin red hook that are very beautiful.
Yeah, I've heard about those.
They're nice.
I think some of those are even being bred in the hobby now.
Yeah, the Mylius sedegers, the high fin red hooks are being bred.
Oh, nice. Those are one of the medium-sized ones, if I'm not mistaken, aren't they?
Yeah, they don't get too big, but they get long fins.
Oh, nice.
So I want to put them with really aggressive stuff they might get nipped at.
Yeah, a lot of those fish with trailers, other fish, even if they're not normally aggressive, they just can't help but nibble on them streamers.
I know. I had a slobbering catfish that kept getting bullied by a festival.
By a festivum?
Yeah.
Wow, that's surprising. Those are normally I really like the festivums.
Me too. They're beautiful.
Yeah, I kept festivums years ago, and most recently I had one of the other Mesonaut. It wasn't Mesonaut festivum. It was it started with an E. I can't think of the name of it right offhand.
I think I know which one it is. Is that the one with the yellow belly?
Yeah, it's more of a yellowish coloration. Yeah, I believe, yes.
That might be Mesonota insignis.
That might be it. They're real similar, just the colors are slightly different. Now, I don't think these ones get quite as big either.
The only reason I know that is because I used to import them from Rio Nene.
Oh, okay.
They're known as the yellow belly flag cichlid.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
They're beautiful.
Yeah, I'd really like to get some of those for my planted 125. Right now I have some angelfish in there, but I like those even a little bit better for community tanks than angels, because angels can sometimes get a little nippy with your smaller tetras, if you know what I'm saying.
That's true. Yeah, Rio Nene has a lot of beautiful fish. They got beautiful angels and sebrums and stuff and such.
Yeah, I remember one of the people at OCA had some Rio Nene. They were wild caught angels, and then they had those. They didn't have very many, but they had brought some of the Manacapuras, the ones that get the red head, the wild one.
Nice.
Yeah, they had those. Altums were floating around the area for a while.
Have you ever kept ultim angels?
No, I haven't personally kept them. My son had some that we had got them at auction. They were being sold as Peruvians. Then we come to find out later on that it was just a tactic that people were using, that they weren't really true Altums. They were just one of the other scalaries, but they were a larger growing scalary, whatever, or scalare, however you pronounce that. That collection point, for whatever reason, seemed to grow taller and get more of that head shape that's similar to the Altum than a normal angel would.
Yeah, I love the ultim angels. I'm considering keeping some.
Yeah, they're definitely nice. They grow very large and definitely put on one heck of a display if you got room for them.
Yeah, I'm picking up some tanks from one of my friends who is moving to another state, and he's got a beautiful 150 with some dinner plate sized red hooks that I might make that a red hook and ultim angel tank.
Oh, that'd be nice. That'd be nice, real nice. With some driftwood, maybe some large. I think I was going to say sword plants, but the red hooks they eat plants, don't they?
They can, but usually Miles is more carnivorous than the Mentinus.
Oh, are they? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could probably maybe do some Anubias that should be able to grow in a tank like that without worry of anything eating them.
Yeah, I was just thinking I kept Scalar angels with silver dollars fine, so why not ultim angels?
Yeah, that should work perfect.
I know ultims have a
Or
little bit slightly different water parameters though.
yeah, I want to say they need to be in a slightly warmer water as well, but I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, that's correct. They have a higher temperature too.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But I think driftwood would bring the pH down anyway if I put driftwood in there.
Yeah, it should. And if not, as they have some products on available that you could use to help keep it down until you get enough either driftwood or plant life that lowers it naturally.
So have you ever kept discus before?
No, that's one thing I've wanted to, but the price tag on them, I'm pretty frugal when it comes to that sort of thing, so the price tags kind of kept me out of it. And after having some issues with heaters, that kind of scares me away a little bit, because I know they need to be kept around 83 or so. So, I've kind of shied away from those, but I would like to keep them at some point.
I had them a couple of times. They're pretty neat fish. They're a lot hardier now than they were years ago, though.
Oh yeah, well they're breeding them in different, so many different types of water parameters now, and being however many generations removed from the wild, and people are outcrossing them with the different species to get some hybrid vigor and different colorations and patterns. So they're definitely much easier to take care of than in the early days.
That's true. I like discus too. They're just not as active as other cichlids are.
Yeah, I definitely like. There's so many. Again, that's a species that there's a color for everyone. I personally prefer the wild types over the fancy blue diamonds and red marbles and the yellows and all the other different colorations. But, that's just a matter of opinion and personal preference with those. I do think they're nice fish. I just prefer the wild type over them, especially those. I don't know if they should probably be available down by you. The Tife greens, the wild caught Tife greens.
Yes, yes, they're beautiful. There's
Yeah,
also
I
a
really like.
red spotted Tiffy green that comes from Rio Nene. That's beautiful.
Okay, there was. I remember. I believe it was Jack Watley had started out with the Smith Fock type around this, in the United States. I could be wrong about that, but I remember he had some really, really nice the Heckeleye type discus and all the ones that get those. There was another gentleman back in the day, Gan. He was an Asian breeder that was breeding the snake skins and all those different fancy patterns, the squibbles, and some really, really sharp patterns.
Nice. I know Discus Hans has some beautiful German bred discus.
Oh yeah, for sure. I've seen some of his online prior to my situation with Facebook that we won't go into, but you're well aware of that.
Yeah, that sucks. It happened to me.
Yeah, I think it happens to everybody. You just gotta, prepare yourself for any situation, and and that goes anywhere in life. Always be prepared for the unknown, and try to protect yourself from any and all problems like that. But back to the fish hobby. Once again, you also got to be prepared for the unknown in the fish hobby, because you never know when you might have equipment problems, tank failures. You could just end up with not even introducing fish. It might be something that's been harbored, and it's always a good idea to be prepared for the unknown.
That's true. So, what is your best advice for a beginner entering the aquarium hobby?
My best advice would be to be patient, read as much as you can, meet people, and don't be afraid to try new things that nobody else may have thought of. Think outside the box, and you before long you might become the one who's bred something for the first time and become the expert. So always be willing to learn from others and teach others along the way.
I agree. That's very, very important. I would also say research is very key to success in this hobby.
Yeah, you definitely need to research, and because the vast majority of what I've experienced on social media has been great information. There's so many great people, but then there's others who I don't know if they think it's funny or whatever, but they'll dog people's setups who just wanted to show off something that brings them joy, and then people got to talk negatively about it. I don't know why people need to do that, and like intentionally giving bad information. That seems very counterintuitive to me. For when people are directly asking for help, you should help that person, not make matters worse.
I agree. I've seen a lot of that on a lot of Facebook groups, and it just irks me sometimes.
Yeah, I mean it's really uncalled for, especially when there's new hobbyists who they might have, say, their decorations or SpongeBob, for example, and people down them because they chose SpongeBob. It's like that person wasn't asking for your help. They weren't asking for your opinion. They just wanted to show off something that brings them joy. Let them have their joy.
I know. I guess people like that they have to confiscate for something.
I guess, I don't know. To me, it just seems counterintuitive. I was always told if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
That's true. So, what is your favorite Facebook fish keeping group?
Uh, hmm. There's all kinds of them. I really enjoy the one that I'm in with you. I believe it's your group that you started. That one. That's a great one. The Ohio Fish Rescue site's great. There's great ones all over. The vast majority of them that I was in have all been great for the most part. There was a couple that just seemed like they just weren't the right fit for me, is what I'll say.
I agree. Now, have you purchased fish online before?
No. I've thought about it. It just, for me, it seems like everything that I want is always available around my area. It might take me a little bit of looking. I've heard so many horror stories about, and it's not anything to do with the purchaser or the seller. It seems to be that there's really a lot of issues right now with shipping and receiving and stuff getting lost in transition. And when you're dealing with live fish that are shipping from, could be anywhere in the world, it could be across the state, could be across the country. When you're dealing with stuff like that, every second counts, and there's just seems to be way too much inconsistencies with our UPS, the UPS, the postal service, and even FedEx. But so I've been a little leery of that myself.
I bought fish online with great success. I've only had a couple of DOAs, but it was taken care of.
Nice. Yeah, my son and a lot of my friends do it on a regular basis, and they've had really good success. So, it's not like I wouldn't do it. I just haven't done it yet. So, I mean, there's definitely some fish that I'm actually waiting on now to come back in. I had spoken with some people about some fancy goldfish that'll be coming in soon to the U.S. from Asia, and I definitely want to get involved in that when those come available.
Nice. Yeah, there are some great online stores like Tangled Up in Cichlids. I think if you choose a great store with a great reputation, you'll be okay.
Yeah, that's half the battle, is just finding people who have an excellent customer service review. And now with social media, everybody's posting videos, and some of them good, most of them are good, but some reviews are bad, and you got to kind of take that with a grain of salt, because a lot of people like to try and say negative things just to get reduced rates or get free stuff. And I always take that into consideration, that just because somebody gets a bad review doesn't always mean that they really are bad. So, but companies like you've mentioned with Tangled Up in Cichlids, and Wet Spot has a great reputation. Dan's Fish has a great reputation. KJ, KG Aquatics, they have a great reputation. There's so many different. Oasis is another one. Imperial Tropicals. There's so many different companies. Cunningham Cichlids for African cichlids, and the other various fish that Josh and his wife sell and through their online company. They're all great. But a lot of the people that I would deal with at some point in time, I typically run into them throughout the year anyhow, through the various aquarium society functions.
That's awesome. Yeah, Oasis Aquatics is a great company. They actually sponsor my show, and I know the owner well. He's a really great guy.
Yeah, I don't personally know him, but I have heard nothing but great things about their operation. And hey, keep up the great work. It only get bigger from there.
That's true. So what do you like about goldfish?
Well, my entrance into the goldfish world started when I was a young man. It was in the early days of my tropical fish keeping. My great grandfather had passed away, and he had a tank full of goldfish. And at that point in time, I was the only one in the family who kept fish. So all his fish came to me, and he had some really nice arandas, and he had the mouse head pearl scale goldfish. He had some really nice moors, and I got those, and then I became more and more interested in like the Ryukins, and what really was interesting to me is the history behind these fish, and how some of these families had been keeping and breeding nothing but one specific type of goldfish, like just say for instance Wakin or Gkin. They may have been keeping those for 20 or 30 generations in their family, going back several hundred years. And in the case of like Japan, for example, we're breeding koi and fancy goldfish of various types for shoguns and samurai and the feudal lords of the area. So a lot of it comes down to a historical fact, and I really enjoy a lot of the different types of goldfish, with my favorite probably being right now the Thai orchid arandas. I really like those fish.
Nice. I would keep goldfish if I had another tank for them. I love the red cap aranda goldfish.
Yeah, I actually have some right now that a friend of mine bred. She's a local lady. She's also an artist, but she had bred some red cap arandas with. They were bred to. I don't think it was intentional. It was red caps and the gold fantails. So I'm growing some of these fry out now. I've had them about 2 months, so I think these things are about 4 months old, and they're starting to color out. There's one that I think is going to really be pretty sharp. It's got a nice orange coloration starting to develop on the body, and its head is starting to grow a little bit of a wen, and the wen's growing a much darker red. So I think that one's going to have a red cap with an orange body, and some of them are just all white. So I don't really have too high expectations as far as their coloration goes, but their body conformation and the finish is really nice on those ones.
That's awesome. So pretty soon I won't be having one tank anymore. My friend is moving to another state and he's giving me all his tanks.
That's awesome. It's good to have friends like that.
I know. So I'll be able to have an African cichlid tank, that red hook tank, and maybe a goldfish tank.
Do you have a particular form of what type of Africans you're planning on going?
Yeah, Lake Malawi with peacocks and haps and some frontosa.
Nice, nice. So you'll be keeping tangs too then, Tanganyikans.
Yes, Tanganyikans. I like the blue mobile frontosas the best.
Yeah, those are nice. One of the pet shops that I mentioned, Something Fishy, the owner of that shop, he's got some of the really, really nice type locales. He's got like Mpimbways. I forget the one. It's not MOBA. Darn it, I can't think of the name of it. But it's one of the ones that get the real dark blue, spectacular. And some of his breeders, I believe, were wild caught over in Lake Tanganyika.
That's cool. I like wild caught fish.
Yeah, there's definitely some.
So we have a quick.
Excuse me.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I
I was going to say we have
a question.
We have a question from one of our viewers that was emailed to me, so I'm going to go ahead and read it to you. He wants to know: could you keep 2 datnoids, Indonesian or NGT, a jaguar, and 3 flagtails in a 90 length times 28 width times 28 height aquarium? The plan is to grow them out together.
Yeah, it should be okay. I would definitely kind of keep an eye on that jaguar as it starts to size out. In a tank that large, it should be fine. But, once again, you're dealing with large fish that each one's an individual, and, expectations don't always translate into reality, and what you expect and what may change up, and that could change in a heartbeat because every fish is its own individual. And sometimes some of them get territorial, some of them don't. So you just got to kind of keep an eye on it. And I would think it would be okay. Definitely have some line of sight breaks and stuff like that, some hiding places for everything.
I agree. So far, my jaguar is behaving herself.
Yeah, that's a good thing. The biggest issue I ever had when I kept jaguars seemed to be the males, and it always tended to be after water changes. I think they just got that urge to breed, and they would get very, very territorial, and you know the whole tank wouldn't be large enough for them. They'd have fish cowering in the corner. So I ended up tending up to keep those as individuals. But then again, most of the jaguar experience I had was with males. I only had females a few times, and you know, to me, it seems like a lot of the parachromis are just like convicts that once they hit that a couple inches in size, they want to start breeding, and the aggression level only gets worse and worse the bigger they get.
That's true. So far, my only problem child is my red devil. He likes to terrorize my Oscar.
Yeah, they'll definitely do that. Um, you know, I tend to think it's a bad idea to keep Oscars with Central Americans just because Oscars I think have a, how do I want to put it, an undeserving reputation for being aggressive just because they're a large fish. In my experience, Oscars are more bluff than they are actual true aggression, like say a dovii, and it seems that they lack the mouth structure that say a dovii or a Central American fish may have, just because they're in a totally different environment, they're eating different food sources. My understanding is that in the wild, Oscars tend to be more of like a insect feeder, whether it be bugs that land on the surface and drown, or aquatic insects. And they will eat fish in the wild as well, but they're not necessarily an obligate piscivore like say a wild dovii would be. And their mouth structure is just totally different and isn't as robust. So I tend to think that can be a bad idea, but that's just personal preference.
Yeah, that's true. Once I get more tanks, I'm probably going to move the Oscar out of there.
That would probably be a good idea because especially as your fish get bigger and bigger, and it kind of sounds like your red devil may be a male, I'm guessing, if it's already causing problems.
Yeah, I think it's a male. It's got a nuchal hump too.
Oh yeah, more than likely you got a male, and as it gets bigger, it'll just get more and more territorial, especially as it gets more confident.
He might get his own tank if he gets out of control.
That may not be a bad idea because you could always add more Oscars and stuff like that with that, and keep the red devil as a individual pet all his own. He might become more
He is very.
interactive. But,
I got my other friend Jeremy Stellhorn into red devils. He likes them too.
oh, nice. Yeah, I see him commenting. I don't know that guy in particular, um, but he definitely is very intelligent when it comes to fish keeping. I've seen that in his comments he's made.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I first met him on my audio podcast.
Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah, red devils are any of the amphilophus species they're all characters from, at least in the experiences I've had with like I said, I've kept citronellums, I've kept labiatus, trimax. I had seen some really, really nice trimax I considered bringing home, but I didn't jump on it. What else? The chanchos are nice, the hogaboomerums, Shiloensis, if you could find those, the Zaliosas, those are really nice. But, some of those are definitely much harder to find in the hobby.
That's true. So what are your thoughts on flower horns? Do you like them?
Oh, yeah, I definitely like flower horns. I think that's one of those topics that they get a bad reputation because, I can understand both sides of it. Some people are all about keeping the species pure and, hybrids are bad. And, I also understand that there's people who enjoy the hybrids. And, to me, I don't see there being a big issue with it, provided that, if you're going to sell babies, that when you sell those babies or give them away, whatever, that there's a known agreement that these are definitely hybrids. Don't be breeding. If your goal is to, say for instance, you wanted to breed in some of the cases, these are Bija hybrids. You wouldn't want to go and breed one that may look, for all intents and purposes, mostly like, say, redhead. You wouldn't want to go breeding that one if you know that this thing has, say, Carpente blood or whatever else they're crossing them with. So, I think they have pros and cons to the hobby. And the way I see it, if it brings somebody into the hobby and they find happiness in it, who am I to tell them that they can't find happiness? Enjoy it.
I agree 100% with you. Is there anything else you want to talk about tonight?
Nothing in particular that I wanted to talk about. That's entirely up to you. If there's other questions, comments, concerns that you had, we could discuss those, or we could wrap it up too if that's what you'd like to do. That's entirely up to you.
I think we'll wrap up this one and we'll do another Q&A next week.
Hey, that sounds great to me.
It's been a great show. This is awesome. I look forward to doing another one with you.
Awesome. I'm glad to be here. Like I said, it's an honor and a privilege, and I hope the audience may have learned something. And, I look forward to interacting with them in the various fish groups and learning from them as well. Because, there's many things. I may have been in the hobby for a long time, but, there's many aspects of the hobby that I would be basically a newbie in, which, for example, the planted aspect of the hobby. When I got into that a couple years ago, I had only kept plants one other time, and that wasn't even a serious attempt, and I didn't know what the heck I was doing at that point in time. And the fish that I had them with, it ended up, I didn't know any better. I put them with severums, and the severums ate them all, and I never kept them again until just recently. So, I was very, very thankful that my friends and my son and, even people like Sam Scales helped me out so that I could get my plants to grow. Because had they not grown for me, I probably wouldn't have stuck with it. And, I would be right back to where I was in my comfort zone, keeping Central American cichlids and maybe some African, if I could find them, like Hemichromis elongatus or, the 5-star generals, something along them lines, So I'm very thankful for all the people who helped me succeed in something that I had no experience whatsoever in.
That's awesome. So you keep reptiles too, right?
Yeah, I used to keep a lot more than what I keep now. Right at the moment, the only reptiles I have is I have a young northern diamondback terrapin. It's, excuse me, the breeder had told me it hatched out August of last year, so it's a yearling. I have a yearling razorback musk turtle that's also growing out, and then I have 2 snapping turtles. Just commons.
So next week we can talk about turtles too. That way we have a topic for our Q&A as well.
Perfect. Yeah, I enjoy water turtles. I enjoy semi-aquatic turtles, like, you know, the some of the like Blandings turtles, box turtles. The Asian box turtles are really nice, but those seem to be a lot harder to come by, and I think you almost need to have permits and be a breeder to get them now. I'm not exactly sure what the laws are regarding that. And I think every state is also different as well.
That's true. Well, thank you so much for a great show. It was a pleasure tonight.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. I look forward to next week.
Sounds good. I'll be in touch, and I'm sure you'll be in touch as well.
I definitely will be. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a great evening. I hope your audience has a great evening as well.
Thank you very much. So I'd like to remind our audience to stick around really quick. I'm going to play some commercials from our supporters, and during these commercials, you're going to hear about some upcoming events like Aquarium Mania, and then we'll play our outro. So thank you all for tuning in, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
So my name is Tom. I started fish keeping when my grandfather dug a fish tank out of the attic when I was about 5 years old.
So my name's Matt. I'm part of Oasis Aquatics. Been doing this for a long time. Started when I was about 7 years old. 22 years of doing this business.
I'm 29 years old now. I never stopped. There wasn't a day in between where I did not think about fish keeping.
I was doing a vet tech job for many years. Eventually I stopped that because this is my passion in my life.
Matt and I have known each other far too long, as many friendships should be.
And you're like, you know what? We need a fish store. There's no fish stores around here. So we had to make it easy access for everyone, to have many varieties from the little small stuff for everyone to the monster fish keeper people.
No matter what it is that you're looking to do, we can provide it for you.
Aqua Alex here with a very special announcement. I am very proud to announce the very first Oasis Aquatics giveaway. This giveaway is known as Find Your Oasis Giveaway. The winner will receive $100 in-store credit to be used at oasisaquaticsnj.com. The giveaway will run from July 15th through December 26th, 2024. This giveaway is a great way to support a small mom and pop online fish shop and also grow the aquarium hobby at the same time. So, who is going to win $100 in store credit at Oasis Aquatics? We will find out towards the end of the year, at the end of December. Here is how you enter the Find Your Oasis giveaway. Place an order with Oasis Aquatics. Simply go to www.oasisaquaticsnj.com. Check out the stock list and click on the How to Order tab and hit the Send Email button. In the email, state the fish you want, your address with your zip code, and your phone number. Be sure to mention you are entering the Find Your Oasis giveaway. Everyone who enters will be entered into a drawing, and the winner will be announced on the final Friday Live with Aqua Alex of 2024 in late December. Good luck, everyone. So, fish keepers, go get yourself some quality fish today and enter to win $100 in store credit that you can win at the end of December. OasisAquaticsNJ.com. Check out their amazing stock list and place an order today, and you'll automatically be entered into the Find Your Oasis giveaway. I hope to see some entries. Good luck, everyone, and I hope you join this giveaway.
Are you a catfish lover like Aqua Alex? Well, then you are invited to a special catfish-themed Friday Live with Aqua Alex live this Friday, August 23, 2024 at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. It will be the very first themed episode of Friday Live with Aqua Alex. Come learn about channel catfish, marbled achara catfish, Cynodontis decorus catfish, rare catfish, and more. Catfish Friday Live is going down live this Friday, August 23, 2024 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific on YouTube channel The Real Alex CARDINALE.
This Friday, August 23rd, 2024, live at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, Aqua Alex proudly presents the very first themed episode of Friday Live with Aqua Alex. It's Catfish Friday Live with Aqua Alex. Let's learn about one of Alex's favorite fish groups, the catfish. Aqua Alex's featured fish will be the channel catfish. The South American fish of the week will be the marbled achara catfish. The African fish of the week will be the beautiful Cynodontis decorus. Aqua Alexa will have facts on the South American catfish families Himmelodi and Doradid. Aqua Alex will discuss top 5 rare catfish and top 5 rare cherisons. The saltwater fish of the week will be the pink-spotted watchman dovii. The featured fish store will be predatory fins. Aqua Alex's Open Challenge is back. Who will answer the Aqua Alex Open Challenge? Any fish keeper can. All that and more on a special Catfish Friday Live with Aqua Alex. Live this Friday, August 23rd, 2024, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. Fish keepers come tune in and learn all about catfish on Catfish Friday Live with Aqua Alex. On the next Saturday Live with Alex Cardinale, get ready for another epic Saturday. Live Saturday, August 24th, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, right here on YouTube channel, The Real Alex Cardinale. Alex Cardinale will host his very first restaurant review right here on Saturday Live. What restaurant did Alex go to for his birthday? How did he think of it? Find out this Saturday on Saturday Live with Alex Cardinale. Tampa Bay Buccaneers Spotlight. Find out which players to watch for in the 2024-2025 season. The animal of the world will be the coyote. The pet of the week will be the adorable basset hound. There will be a Oasis Aquatics featured fish. There will be facts on Big Wide grocery stores, MLB, and Roku. All that and more live on the next Saturday Live with Alex Cardinale, August 24, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, right here on YouTube channel The Real Alex Cardinale.
Saturday night.
Thank you for watching this livestream on the Real Alex CARDINALE YouTube channel. We hope you enjoyed today's livestream. Whether you learned about tropical fish, a crime, an American tragedy, or had fun on Saturday Live, your view is what keeps the great content coming. Thank you for supporting Alex CARDINALE and watching this live. It's hard to believe we are quickly approaching 11 years together. Get ready for a big 11-year celebration taking place in New Jersey. Special thanks to our sponsor Oasis Aquatics for helping our channel grow. Looking for quality tropical fish? Check out oasisaquaticsnj.com. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Share this video on social media and let your friends view too. Remember, sharing is caring. Subscribe for more awesome videos. Thanks for watching and stay legendary. Goodbye for now. We will see you on the next live.